Canto 10 of the Lusiads. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Leni. The Lusiads, by Luís Vaz de Camões. Translated by Sir Richard Francis Burton. Canto 10. Argument of the 10th Canto. Thebes inviteth the navigators, the Sirens' prophetic song, wherein she toucheth upon the principal achievements and conquests of the Portuguese viceroys, the governors, and the captains in India, until the days of Dom João de Castro. Thebes with da Gama ascendeth a mount, whence she showeth him the spheres, terrestrial and celestial. Description of the globe, especially of Asia and Africa. The navigators quit the island, and, pursuing their voyage, happily reach Lisbon. Another argument. As mesas de vivíficos manjares, com as ninfas, os lusos valerosos, ouvem de seus vindouros singulares façanhas em assentos numerosos. Mostra-lhes Tétis tudo quanto os mares e quantos céus rodeiam luminosos, a pequeno volume reduzido, e torna a frota ao Tejo tão querido. At tables spread with life-restoring food, accompanied by their nymphs, the Lusians bold hear of their futures singular and good, and daring deeds in numbered verses told. Thebes displays them all that ocean flood girdeth, encircleth heaven's luminous fold, dwarfed to a scanty volume, when the fleet homewards her well-loved Tagus flies to greet. Canto 10. Now had the glowing amorist, who won fair faithless Laricia's love, inclined his steeds where lies, girt by the great lagoon, Themistitum, the western world behind. Favonius' breath the branding of the sun cooleth, and o'er the natural tanks his wind crisps the sea-mirror, and awakes the lily, slumbering with jasmine through the noontide stilly. When the fair nymphs, who each her lover led, hand-linked in hand, conforming and content, trooped where the radiant pleasance reared its head, all gay with gold and metals lucidant, when bade the queen that tables there be spread, with varied viands chosen, excellent, for loved and loving vigour to restore, the powers which love from weary nature bore, there on the radiant thrones, rich crystalline, sit the blithe couples, cavalier and dame, while on the golden dais in state recline the lovely goddess Gama loved by fame. Delicious dainties, delicate, divine, that antique Egypt's luxuries sink to shame, heap the huge chargers of the tawny gold, from far Atlantis' treasury hither rolled. The wines of fragrant scent not sole excel Falerna's vintage, proud Italia's boast, but e'en th' ambrosia Jove esteems so well, and eke esteems his sempiternal host. In cups where steely file may not prevail, they spume crisp foam that glads man's innermost bosom, and warms his heart with sudden glow, and with ice-water tempered leap and flow. Told were 1,000 tales of joy and mirth, sweet smiles met subtle sayings warm with wit, which to discourses and that gave double worth, and sharpened edge to blunted appetite. Nor of the harp harmonious was there dearth, which in profoundest pit the naked sprite awhile can respite from eternal pain, sweetened by siren voice of angel strain. Thus sang that nymph, the fairest of her kind, her descant echoing down the hall sublime, with consonance of instrument combined, and all conforming to one tone and time. A sudden silence husheth every wind, and makes the wavelet plash with softer chime, while salvage animals in natural air to slumber charmed the dreamy music hear. Her voice of silver raiseth to the skies the coming race of barons high renowned, whose prototypes were shown to Proteus' eyes within the hollow spheres diaphanous round. Jove's goodly present and the choicest prize given him in vision, to the realm profound the tale prophetic told he, and the maid in memory depths the glorious history laid. Subject of buskin 'tis, and not forsook what in that vasty lake the nymph made known, things from Iopus hid in Demodok, Phaeacian this and that of Carthage town. Thee, my Calliope, I now invoke, In this mine extreme labour, thou alone canst for my writing to my sprite restore the gust of writing, which I joy no more. My years glide downwards, and my summer's pride mergeth in autumn, passing, ah, how soon! Fortune my genius chills, and loves to chide my poet soul no more my boast and boon. Hopes long deferred bear me to the tide of black oblivion, and eternal soon. But deign to grant me thou, the Muses' queen, to praise my people with my proper strain. Sang the fair goddess how the wide seas o'er, from Tagus' bank, when Gama cut his path, shall sail strong navies, conquering every shore, where Indic ocean sucks his mighty breath. How all the kings who gentle gods adore, and dare our yoke reject, shall rue the wrath of hard and hardy arms, with steel and low, till low to Gama or to death they bow. Of one she chaunted, that in Malabar held of the priesthood highest dignity, who, lest be loosened with the singular, barons the knot of love and amity, shall see his towns, his cities in the war, with fire and sword and wrath and cruelty undone, which potent Samarin shall wage against the stranger, such shall be his rage. And eke she singeth how shall join the fleet in Belem moored to bait this deadly bane, when of his burthen naught could ocean weet, our great Pacheco Achilles' Lusitane. Lo, as he entereth, all his weight shall greet the curved timber and the fervid main, as in the waters every keel that groaneth sits deeper swimming than its nature owneth, but hardly landed on those orient ends, and, leaving with the royal unbeliever of Cochim realm some native troops where bends its salty branches Cochim's snaky river, the Nair's infernal bands he breaks and rends in the pass Cambalum, whereat shall shiver with freezing fear the Orient's fiery glow, seeing so few, so many men o'erthrow. The Samarim shall summon fresh allies, kings hurrying come from Bipar and Tanor, and where Narsinga's serried crests arise, vowing high valor to their grand Senor. Lo, at his bidding every Nearman hies that dwells twixt Calicut and Cannanore, two hostile peoples linked at war's demand. By sea the Moormen came, Gentoos by land. Again shall scatter all their strong array Pacheco, grandly bold on shore and main. The mighty Mani he shall crush and slay, and be the marvel of the Malabar plain. Again shall dare the pagan sun delay to offer battle for his bitter bane, taunting his host and offering vainest vows, his deaf and dumb and heedless gods to rouse. No more the passes only now defending, he shall with fire consume thorp, fane, and town. The hound walks to wood to see with toil unending his fenced cities on the plain bestrown, shall drive his soldiers, life so freely spending, against Pacheco, who with wings hath flown for double movement, but at single bout hither and thither all he puts to rout. Shall come in person Samarin fight to dare, to cheer his forces and fresh force enjoin, but soon a bullet singing through the air shall stain him red in lofty palanquin. Naught now availeth him, ne wildness ne'er, ne force Pacheco deemeth like to win. He shall vain venoms deal treasons base, which aye gain less of gain by God's good grace. He shall a seventh time, she sang, aspire the brave beleaguered Lusian to assail, whom toil and travail lack the strength to tire, but save confusion nothing shall avail. Then shall he bring to battle dread and dire machines of timber, unknown, terrible, to sink the carvels by the board assailed, when force and fraud both tried alike have failed. On water-plain, upheaping fiery hill, he now shall tempt the Lusian fleet to flame, but soldier science and the warman's will the strength shall weaken wherewithal he came. Ne'er hath a baron famed for martial skill, that starward soared on the wings of fame, rivalled this, who palms from all hath won, illustrious Greece or Rome, my words condone. For such fierce battles in such manner gained, by a poor hundred or a few more, such fight, such feigns, such strength, such stratagem sustained, so many hounds not heartless hurled to flight, such feats, I say, must seem as fables feigned, or that the hosts of heaven invoked a light earth-ward to aid him, shall to him impart, daring and doing, heart and warrior art. Nor he who in the campaign Marathonian Darius' mighty powers piecemeal rendeth, nor with 4,000 men Lacedaemonian he who the pass Thermopylae defendeth, nor youthful Cocles of the strain Ausonian, who with the whole Etrurian host contendeth the bridge to hold, nor Quintus Fabius ere like this in war showed strength and savoir faire. But here the nymph's triumphant measure dies, shifting to sadden murmur, low and slow. She sings mid tears and ill-suppressed sighs the mighty jests that did no gratitude know. O Belisarius, thou who aye shalt rise in ninefold choir and ever nobler grow, if Mars' dishonour didst behold in thee one to console thee, here thy shade shall see. Thou hast a rival, not alone indeed, but in his dolence and his guerdon dower, and thee and him, two breasts of noblest breed, we see degraded to low state obscure, to die in spital on the bed of mead, who king and law like wall of iron secure. Thus do capricious kings, whose will demandeth more than what justice or what truth commendeth. Thus do the kings, who drunk with flattery feel the charm of show that gains their hearts' content, the doles of Ajax' arm, the due they deal to tongue of vain Ulysses fraudulent. But O revenge, these goods of little weal, wasted on those who ghosts of good present. If brave and gentle knights miss all their grants, such grants but glut their greedy sycophants. Yet thou, who paidest in such sorry ways, such liege, O king, unjust in this alone, if ne'er 'twas thine to give him grade and praise, 'twas his to give his king a golden throne. Long as Apollo bathes with blessed rays this ball of earth, I swear, shall aye be known, amid the great and good, his name and fame, and thine for avarice aye shall bear the blame. See now, she sang, another comes in pride of the blood royal, and he brings from home the son, whose name shall sound o'er ocean tide, high as the Romans in best days of Rome. The two, with warrior arms to hearts of fire, shall deal to fertile Chiloa dreadful doom, and crown a gentler king of loyal strain, who ends the tyrant's fell perfidious reign. Mombasa city, with her brave array of sumptuous palace, proudest edifice, defaced, deformed by fire and steel, shall pay, in kind, the tale of bygone malefice. Thence on those Indian shores which proud display their hostile fleets and warlike artifice, against the Lusians, with his sail and oar, shall young Lorenzo work the extremes of war. What mighty vessels Samarin's orders own, covering ocean, with his iron hail, poured from hot copper tube in thunder tone, all shall he shatter, rudder, mast and sail. Then with his grapples boldly, deftly thrown, the hostile emerald he shall assail, board on her, and only with the lance and sword shall slay 4 hecatombs of Moors abhorred. But God's provisions escaping human sight, alone who knows what good best serves his kind, shall place the hero where ne toil ne might his lost young life availeth to forfend, in Chaul Bay, where fierce and furious fight with fire and steel shall fervid seas offend. The infidel so shall deal that end his days where Egypt's navy doth conjoin Canvaise. There shall the power of manifold enemies, for only strong force can tire, and winds defaulting, and fierce injuries of ocean 'gainst a single life conspire. Here let all olden men from death arise, to see his valor, catch his noble fire. A second Seva, see who, hacked and torn, laughs at surrender, quarter holds in scorn. With the fierce torture of a mangled thigh, torn off by bullet which at random passed, his stalwart arms he ceaseth not to ply, that fiery spirit flaming to the last, until another ball clean cuts the tie so frail that linked soul and body fast, the soul which loosed from her prison fleets, whither the prize eterne such conqueror greets. Go, soul, to peace from warfare turbulent, wherein thou meritedst sweet peace serene, for those torn tortured limbs that life so rent, who gave thee life prepareth vengeance keen. I hear enow the furious storm ferment, threatening the terrible eternal teen of chamber, basilisco, saker fire, to Mameluke rule and Cambaean dire. See, with stupendous heart the war to wage, driven by rage and grief, the father flies, paternal fondness urging battle gage, fire in his heart and water in his eyes. Promise the sire's distress, the soldier's rage, a bloody deluge o'er the knees shall rise on every hostile deck. This Nile shall fear, Indus shall sight it, and the Genji shall hear. As when some lusty bull would train and teach his limbs for cruel fight, with horns he playeth on trunk of builder oak or mast-like beech, and wounding empty air his might essayeth, thus ere his keel's Cambaea's gulf can reach, Francisco, fierce with vengeful ardor preyeth on Dabu, opulent harbor, whets his brand, and baits the tumid bragging of the land, and soon shall scatter, sailing up the bight of dew, and fain for siege and battle dread, Calicut strong armada, weak of fight, that trusts to paddle steely mail instead. She of Melikeias who boasts her might of balls by thee, O Vulcan, scattered, shall see her carvels to the frore deep sent, where hidden sleeps the humid element. While she of Merhosem, which linked fast with grapples waits the venger side by side, shall sight the lopped-off arms and legs float past sun-owner bodies o'er the shifting tide, like flamy bolts on earth by thunder cast. In blinding mist of blood the brave shall ride, there naught shall strike the shrinking ear and eye, save fire and steel-flesh, shout and slogan cry. But, ah, that homeward from such wars victorious, bound for the Tagus of his fatherland, he nigh should forfeit meed so great and glorious, by sad black chance, I see, in fortune's hand. The cape of storms, that guards his name memorious, shall guard his bones, nor blush shall stain its strand. That noble spirit from the world to tear, Egyptian strength ne'er tore, nor Indian snare. There salvage Kaffirs shall have power to do what ne'er could do the power of dexterous foe, and the rude fire-charred club and staff subdue, whom ne'er subdued ball nor artful bow. Forsooth his judgments hide from human view. Vain fools who vainly judge what none may know, call a misfortune, term a fate malign, what is but providence pure, all-wise, divine. But ho, what lustrous light illumes mine eyes, resumed the nymph, as rose again her tone. There, where Melinda's blood-dyed ocean lies, from Lamo, Oja, Brava town o'erthrown, by hand of Cunha, such a deed ne'er dies, or farthest seas his name shall aye be known, that lave those Austral islands and the shore St. Lawrence hide and ring the wide world o'er. This light is glance and glare of lucent arm, wherewith your Albuquerque's hand shall tame the Hormus Parseed's heart, which be his harm, refusing gentle rule as yoke of shame. There shall he see of shafts the strident swarm, in air revolving with recurved aim, upon his archer, for our God shall aid, who holy faith of Mother Church would spread. There the South Mountains never shall defend corruption from remains of men that met war's doom, and o'er the seas and shores extend of Germ Isle, Masket, and Calais, till by pure force of arms they learn to bend the subject neck and pay the scot of fate, compulsion sore this wicked reign shall vex, and tithe of pearl that Bern's oyster decks. What wreaths of glorious palms I see them weave, wherewith by victory's hand his head is crowned, when he some shade of fear or shame shall wreathe illustrious Goa's island, world-renowned. See, forced by need's hard law his prize to leave, he seeks new favouring chance, and soon as found, the taken he retakes, such arm and art shall conquer fortune and the self of Mart. Lo, he returns, and bursts what dares oppose, through bullet, lance-plumb, steel, fire's strongest hold, breaks with his brand the squadded host of foes, the serried Moor, the Gentoo many-fold. His inklet soldiery more of fury shows than rampant bulls or lions hunger bold, that they for ever celebrate and dine of Egypt's martyr maid, Saint Catherine. Nor shalt thou scape the fates to fall his prize, albeit so wealthy and so strong thy sight, there on Aurora's bosom, whence thy rise, thou home of opulence, Malacca height. The poisoned arrows which thine art supplies, the Chryses thirsting, as I see, for fight, the enamoured Malay men, the Javan braves, all of the Lusian shall become the slaves. She had more stanzas sung in siren strain, lauding her Albuquerque's high renown, when she recalled the passionate deed, the stain on his white fame that o'er the world hath shone. The mighty captain whom the fates ordain to view his toils win glory's lasting crown, should ever prove him kind and loved compeer of his own men, not cruel judge severe. In days of hunger and of dire distress, sickness, bolts, arrows, thunder, lightning glint, when the sore seasons and sad sights oppress his soldiers, rendering service unstint, it seemeth salvage act of wild excess, of heart inhuman, bosom insolent, to make last penalty of laws atone for sins our frailty and our love condone. Abominable incest shall not be his sin, nor ruffian rape of virgin pure, not e'en dishonour of adultery, but lapse with wanton slave-girl, vile, obscure. If urged by jealous sting or modesty, or used to cruelty and harshness dour, man from his men mad anger curbeth not, his fame's white shield shall bear black ugly blot. Learn Alexander that Apelles loved, and his Campaspe gave with glad consent, though was the painter not his soldier proved, nor in hard urgent siege his force was spent. Felt Cyrus eke Panthea deeply moved, Araspus by the fire of passion brent, though he had ta'en her charge and pledged his oath, this honest love should never break his troth. But seeing the noble Persian slaved and swayed by power of passion, son and fine defence, he gives slight pardon, and thus gained his aid, in gravest case, the fittest recompense. Himself perforce the maid of Judith made Baldwin hight, bras de fer, but his offence her father, Charles, for troublous times condoned, and gave him life the Flanders reign to found. Again the lyre its soul of music sheds, and sings the nymph how shall Soares fly, ere winnowing flags whose terror far o'erspreads the ruddy coasted lands of Araby. The abominable town, Medina, dreads as Mecca dreads Engida, and where lie Abbassia's ultim shores, while Barbara fears the fate that floodeth Zela mart with tears. And eke the noble island Taprobane his ancient name ne'er failed to give her note, as still she reigns superb and sovereign, by boon of fragrant tree-bark biting hot. Toll of her treasure to the Lusitan, and sign shall pay, and proud and high shall float your breezy banners from the lofty tower, and all Colombo fear your castle power. Cicada too, far sailing for the shore of Erythris, new ways shall open wide to thee, great empire, who canst vaunt of yore to be Candaces and the Shibans' Nide. Maswa, that hoards in tanks her watery store, he shall behold by Port Archicos side, and send explorers to each distant isle, till novel wonder all the world beguile. Succeeds Menezes, less enfamed his sword shall be in Asia than in Afric land. He shall chastise high Hormus' erring horde, and twofold tribute claim with conquering hand. Thou also, Gama, shalt have rich reward for ban of exile when to high command, entitled County, thou shalt be restored to the fair region this thy feet explored. But soon that fatal debt all flesh must pay, where from our nature no exception knows, while decked with proudest royalty's array, from life shall reave thee in life's toils and woes. Other Menezes cometh some delay, who few of years but much of prudence shows in rule. Right happy this Enrique's lot, by human story ne'er to be forgot. Conquer he shall, not only Malabar, destroy Panane and Culete waste, hurling the bombers which through hurtled air deal horrid havoc on the posing breast, but darred with virtues truly singular, he deals to sevenfold spirit foes his hest. Covetise with incontinence he shall spurn, the highest conquest in the years that burn. Him, when his presence shall the stars invite, O Mascarenhas brave, thou shalt succeed, and if injurious men shall rob thy right, eternal fame I promise for thy meed. That every hostile tongue confess thy might and lofty valor, fate for thee decreed, for more of palm wreath shall thy glory crown than the good fortune due to thy renown. Where Bentam's reign her baleful head uprears, Malacca humbling with her harmful hate, in one short day the 1,000 tyrannous years with bravest bosoms shalt avenge and bait. In human travails, perils without peers, 1,000 ironries and dangers straight, stockade and bulwark, lances, arrowy sleet, all shalt thou break, I swear, all shalt submit. But in's ambition and her lucre lust, for ever flaunting bold and brazen face in front of God and justice, shall disgust thy heart, but do thine honor no disgrace. Who works vile injury with unreasoning trust and force, and footing lent by rank and place, conquereth nothing. The true conqueror he who dares do naked justice, fair and free. Yet to Sampaio will I not gainsay a noble valor shown by shrewdest blows, that shall o'er ocean flash like thunder ray, curded with 1,000 corpses of his foes. He shall in Bacanor make fierce essay on Malabar, till Ons in terror throws Cuchale, beaten with his battered fleet, the dreadful ruin of a rout complete. Nor less of Jew the fierce and fear are made, the dread of Shaul, daring, proudly mend, with single glance shall fall, till all have fled, our Hector da Silveira's heavy hand. Our Hector Portingal, of whom 'tis said, that o'er yon ever-armed Cambaean strand, such wrath on Guzrats 'tis his to wreak, as Trojan Hector wreaked on the Greek. Then shall succeed to fierce Sampaio's powers Cunha, and hold the helm for many a year, building on Chalet town the lofty towers, while quakes illustrious Jew his name to hear. Bacen to him her sturdy standard lowers, yet not some bloodshed, for with groan and tear Melique seeth his proudest estacade, stormed not by firebrand, but by sway of blade. Next comes Noronha, whose auspicious sway Jew from the barbarous Rume warman rends, Jew, which beleaguered in his warrior way Antônio da Silveira well defends. Soon must Noronha doom of death obey, when branch of thine, O Gama, Aiden's lands, to govern empire, and his fiery zeal fierce pallid hue to Red Sea waves shall deal. From thine Estevã's hand shall take the reign, one raised already to a high degree by his Brazilian wars, and trophies ta'en from the French pirate homed upon the sea. Then dubbed Emerald of our Indian main, the month proud Valverde in her panoply, his scales, the first that open gate to thread, by flames and 1,000 flechers covered. To him Cambae's king, that hottest Moor, shall yield in wealthy Jew the famous fort, that he may gain against the grand Mogor, spite his stupendous power, your firm support. Then shall he wend, most valiant conqueror, to hem the gentle king in Calicut port. So let and hindered, he and all who hide with him, retired, in their blood-red dyed. Low shall he lay the city repelling, her monarch forcing with his men to run. Then well nigh reach the cape-clapt Comorin, another wreath of fame by him is won. The strongest squadron of the Samarim, who doubted not to see the world undone, he shall destroy with rage of fire and steel. Beardallah's self his martial yoke shall feel. Then from all Indus land thus swept the foes, the conqueror, coming sceptred state to claim, finds no resistance where none dare oppose, for nations tremble at his terrible name. Alone shall risk of war the scourging woes, Bachicalah and dree Beardallah's shame. Here blood and corpses shall defile the land, deformed by thunderous gun and fiery brand. This shall be Martin, who the name of Mart breathed, and eke the deeds the name that gave, as much esteemed for arms in every part, as wise in stratagem, in counsel grave. Castro succeeds, who Lusiads' estandard shall bear for ever in the front to wave. Successor the succeeded's work who endeth, that buildeth Jew, this builded Jew defendeth. The fightful Purse, the Bassian, and the Rum, who hath revived the name of Rome, their liege, of varied customs, various in costume, fell tribes 1,000 flocking to the siege, on earth against the heavens shall vainly fume, that guard such handfuls sold their lands a bridge. In blood of Portingals this pain Mirai voweth its crooked and curved moustache to die. Dread basiliscus, lion's fiery flame, fierce catapults, and mines that hidden spring, shall Mascarenhas and his barons dare, and to the sure death Gladnia shall bring. Till, when all hope is fled and reigns despair, Castro, the saviour, cometh offering his sons' young lives, and wills their names survive, God's sacrifices, in death to live. One son, Fernando, scion of trees so high, where violentest flames with loudest roar blow shattered ramparts to the smoky sky, there, stricken down on earth, shall heavenward soar. Alvaro, when mankind dread winter fly, and shift from humid path for arid shore, opens the waters, spite what risks oppose, and fighteth winds and waves to fight the foes. When, see, the father cuts the wavy waste, leading what resteth of the Lusitane, with Warman's arm and arts which e'er be best, he offers battle's remedy sovereign. These scale the ramparts and at gateways jest, those cut broad gates through squads with rage insane. Deeds they shall do so die in memorious glory, song shall not suit, nor history hold the story. He shall once more upon the field appear, a strong, intrepid victor, where his sight Cambyas' puissant king shall strike with fear, and hideous hosts of quadrupeds affright. Nor less shall fail his puissant reign to rear the Heidelcam, when mighty arms shall smite chastised Dabul, mistress of the coast, nor shall spare Ponda's distant inland post. Barons like these, with peers from various parts, all worthy marvel and all mastering fame, raised to rank of mart by martial arts, shall come the pleasures of this isle to claim. Their hands shall wave triumphant estandards, wherever keel edge cutteth ocean stream. Such men, these nymphs, these banquets shall find, honors and glories to high jests assigned. Thus sang the siren, while her sister choir with their sonorous plaudits filled the hall, wherewith to hail the hour of glad desire, crowning the happy marriage festival. However fortune's wheel shall turn its tire, with one harmonious accent chaunted all, renowned people, rest your souls secure of honor, valor, fame, while worlds endure. When men's corporeal necessity was with the noble viand satisfied, and when in sweet melodious suavity all had their lofty future feats descried, Tethys, with grace adorned and gravity, that with a higher pomp and double pride becrowned the revels of this joyous day, to glad and happy Gama thus 'gan say: To thee supremest wisdom guerdon gave, Baron, who hast beheld with fleshly eye what things the future hath the power to save from mortals' petty pride and science vain. Follow me firmly, prudent as thou'rt brave, to yonder craggy brake with all thy train. Thus she, and straightway through a long wood led, arduous, gloomy, fear for foot to tread. Nor far they stepped, when on culminant height, where stretched a gem-enamelled mead, they stood, smaragd and ruby strewn, so rich the sight, presumed 'twas paradisial floor they trod. Here swimmeth e'er a globe, through which the light of purest radiance pierced in such mode, that, as its polished surface clearest clear, so doth its centre and its core appear. What mode its matter be escapes their eyes, yet scapes them not, it holdeth in embrace various orbs, by wand of him all-wise, disposed to circle round one central place. Rolling it sinks and then returns to rise, and yet ne sinks ne rises, while one phase is shown to all and every part, each part begins in fine, and ends with heavenly art. Uniform, perfect, and self-poised it be, like the archetype who drew the grand design. Stood Gama, overwhelmed this globe to see, with joy, and hope its nature to divine. When thus the goddess: Here the epitome, in little volume, to those eyes of thine, I give the general world, so shalt thou view where goest thou shalt go, and what shalt do. Here see the mighty world-machine appear, ethereal where the fourfold elements blend, made by his deep design, his lofty lyre, who lacks beginning and who has no end. He who surrounding holds this shapely sphere, this globe in filled surface packed and penned, is God. But what God is, the intelligence of mortal genius ne'er shall dare pretend. This primal orb, that rolling doth enclose the lesser circles in its lines confined, this sphere, whose flood of clearest radiance flows, blinding men's vision and his vulgar mind, is height th' empyrean. Here the blest repose, here perfect spirits bliss eternal find, ineffable joys which he alone may ken, who hath no likeness in the world of men. Only to this imperial sphere belong the gods of truth, for Saturn, Janus, I, Jove and his Juno, are a fabled throng, a mortal figment, a blind fantasy. Only to deck the poet's sprightly song we served, and if more humanity we gained of men, 'twas that his wit hath given our names and natures to the stars of heaven. And eke because that holy Providence, the Jupiter of mythologic strain, by thousand spirits wise in perfect sense, ruleth all mundane things it doth sustain. Prophetic science doth this truth dispense, a truth so many instances maintain. Sprites that be good aye guide and favour man, the bad his course impede whene'er they can. Here will it picture, weave with change to play, pleasing in teaching, mixing gay and grave, to give them titles which your olden lay to fabled gods in poet fables gave. For even th' angels of th' eternal day, as gods enrolled were in sacred stave, which e'en denies not such exalted name, sometimes to sinner, though with falsest claim. In fine, the God supreme, who works his will by second worldly causes, all commands. Return we now the works profound to tell of his divine and venerated hands. Beneath this circle, where all blissful dwell, pure godly sprites, which fixed for ever stands, another rolleth, and so swift none see its course. This is the primum mobile, and with its rapt and rapid whirl it drags all lesser spherelets which its womb containeth. By work of this the sun, who never flags, with alien courses day and night sustaineth. 'Neath this swift orb another orb slow lags, so slow, so hard a curb its ardour reigneth, while Phoebus makes, with ever splendid face, 200 rounds, this moves a single pace. Lower, this other view, enamelled gay with burnished figures, gleaming, radiant bright, which in it too hold constant ordered way, orbs on their axis scintillant and pied. Thou seest well 'tis dight with brave array of broad and golden zone, the zodiac height, wherein 12 starry forms of animals shine, that Phoebus mentions limit and define. Behold, in other parts the portraiture, limned by the stars that sparkling glances shed. Behold the wain, attend the cynosure, and with her fierce warm father Andromed. See Cassiopeia's beauty lovely pure, with turbulent Orion's gesture dread. Behold the swan that doth in song expire, the hare and hounds, the ship and dulcet lyre. Beneath this firmamental canopy thou seest Saturn's sky, that godhead old, with faster flight doth Jove below him fly, and Mars yet lower, Bellic planet bold. In the fourth seat shines heaven's radiant eye, then Venus leadeth all her loves enrolled. Mercury wends with eloquence divine, and 'neath him Dian showeth faces trine. In all these orbits motion different shalt see, in these 'tis swift, in those 'tis slow. Now fly they farthest from the firmament, then sweep they nearest earth that lurks below. Even so willed the Sire omnipotent, who made the fire and air, the wind and snow. These lie more inward, as thou shalt be shown, and earth with ocean for their centre own. Within this centre, inn of humankind, whose reckless spirits not alone defy sufferings and ills to stable earth confined, but e'en the sea's fierce instability, thou shalt see various continents defined by blindly raging tides, where parted lie the various realms which various monarchs sway, whose varied customs varied laws obey. See high, hot Europe, that adores the rude, for power and polity o'er all renowned. See Afric, grudging every worldly good, yon rough, incult, and monster-haunted ground, whose stormy cape till now your search withstood, by nature stablished as her austral bound. Behold this quarter, where the black Moors dwell, Saint Lois, Saint Foix, whose numbers none can tell. Behold the Benamotapa's puissant reign of salvage negroes, nude and noisome race, where shall for holy faith be foully slain martyred Gonçalo, suffering sore disgrace. This hidden hemisphere to golden vein gives birth, which man must win by sweat of face. See from yon lake whence Nilus rolls his tide, how springs Kuama from the farther side. Behold those Blackmoors and their huts that stand sundoors, each castled in his natal nest. They trust of royal justice the command, and in the candour of the neighbour's breast. Behold how furious flies the bestial band, like flock of dingy steers thick-packed and pressed. To fight Sofala's fortress they pretend, which dexterous Naia's arm and wits defend. See there the lakes that cradle Father Nile, whose ultim sources men of old ne'er knew. See how the waters, gendering crocodile, a Basiliond whose sons to Christ be true. Behold how bare of bulwarks, novel style, they show a better front against the foe. See Meroe Island, whilom known to fame, which now the wild inhabitants Noba name. On distant Afric hills a son of thee in Turkish wars shall win the fame of brave. High to Don Cristovan shall the hero be, but flash from destined death no skill shall save. Here view the coast where shelter from the sea and glad relief to thee Melinde gave. Note how yon raptous stream, whose wide expanse natives call Obi, entereth in Kilmance. The cape which ancients aromatic leap, behold, I clapped by moderns guarda-fu, where opes the Red Sea mouth, so wide and deep, the sea whose ruddy bed lends blushing hue. This as a bourne was far thrust out to keep Asia distinct from Afric, and a few of the best markets Negro seaboards claim, Arquico are, Massoua and Suan-Ken. View extreme Suez here, old annals say, once stood a city high Hierapolis, by some Arsinoe called, and in our day she holdeth Egypt's fleets and argosies. Behold the watery deeps, where clove his way Moses, the mighty, in past centuries. Asia beginneth here her huge extent, in regions, kingdoms, empires opulent. See Sinai mountain, with her boast and pride, the silver bier of saintly Catherine. See Toro port and Jeddah, scant supplied with fountain water, soft and crystalline. Behold the straits which end the southern side of arid Eden realms that here confine with tall Arziran range, nude stone and live, whence soft sweet rains of heaven ne'er derive. See threefold Araby covering so much ground, where 20 peoples vague or vasty space, whence come the Rabbites, best for battle found, light-limbed, high-fettled, noble-blooded race. Behold the coast that trends to bind and bound yon other Persian strait, where sight can trace the headland proud, the potent name to own, of Fartak city, erst to fame well known. Behold and sign Dhofar, that doth commend for Christian altars sweetest incense store. But note, beginning now on further band of Ras Al Ghadi's ever-greedy shore, yon Hormuz kingdom, strown along the strand, whose fame for riches still shall higher soar, when the Turk's galleys and his fears are made see Castel Branco bear his deadly blade. Behold of Assabon the head, now hight Mazandam by the men who plough the main. Here lies the gulf, whose long and lake-like bite parts Arabi from fertile Persia's plain. Attend yon Barren isle, with depths bedight by the rich pearly shell whose blushes feign auroran tints, and view in ocean brine Euphrates and Tiger in one bed conjoin. Great Persia's noble empire here behold, ever on destrier or in camp of war, whose sons disdain the copper tube to mold, and hands not horny with the scimitar. But see yon Garum isle the tale unfold of mighty things which time can make or mar. For of our Musa town, yon shore upon, the name and glory this her rival won. Here Dom Felipe de Menezes viu, approved a doughty valiant man-at-arms, who with his Portuguese exceeding few shall quell the Lara Parce's potent swarms. Pedro de Souza too shall make them rue reversed fortunes, warfare's deadliest harms, who had his prowess in Ampasa shown, and took the land by sweep of sword alone. But now the Narrows and their noted head, Cape Jask, Carpella called by those of yore, quit we, the dry terrene scant favored, by nature niggard of her normal store. While ere Carmania 'twas entitled, but view fair Indus flood, whose waters pour adown his natal heights, and in the range of neighbor mountains see the source of Gange. Behold, Alcindi's most luxuriant land, and of Jaquetta's shore yon Intim bay, the monster boar which roaring floods the strand, and ebb which flieth with like force away. See where Cambaya's rich ferocious band boundeth re-entering seas, the Gulf Cambay, and thousand cities which I leave untold, here hoard their wealth for you to have and hold. See, runs the celebrate seaboard Hindustanian, southward till reached its point, Cape Comory, erst Kori called, where th' island Taprobanian, 'tis now Ceylon, encrowns the fronting sea. Besides these waves, thy people Lusitanian, who with their doughty arms will follow thee, by conquering wars shall lands and towns debel, wherein your sons and sons of sons shall dwell. The regions lying twixt these rivers twain, thou seest, with various tribes are infinite. Here rule the Moslems, there the Gentiles reign, whose holy writ the devil did indite. See where Narsinga's seignourings contain the saintly relics blessing human sprite. Thome's remains the missioner sanctified, who thrust his finger in Lord Jesus' side. He rose the potent city, Maliapore named, in olden time rich, vast, and grand. Her sons their olden idols did adore, as still adoreth that iniquitous band. In those past ages stood she, far from shore, when, to declare glad tidings o'er the land, Thome came preaching, after he had trod 1,000 regions, taught to know his God. Here came he preaching, and the while he gave health to the sick, revival to the dead, when chance one day brought floating o'er the wave a forest tree of size unmeasured. The king a palace building lief would save the way for timber, and determined the mighty bulk of trunk ashore to train by force of engines, elephants, and men. Now was that lumber of such vasty size, no job it moves, however hard they bear, when, lo, the apostle of Christ's verities wastes in the business less of toil and care. His trailing waistcoat to the tree he ties, raises, and sun and effort hails it where a sumptuous temple he would rear sublime, a fixed example for all future time. Right well he knew how 'tis of faith averred, faith moveth mountains, will or nill they move, lending a listening ear to holy word. As Christ had taught him, so 'twas his to prove. By such a miracle much the mob was stirred, the Brahmins held it something from above, for, seen his signs and seen his saintly life, they feared the loss of old prerogative. These be the sacerdotes of Canto creed, that of sore jealousy felt most the pain. They seek ill ways 1,000, and take rede, Thome to silence or to gar him slain. The principal who dons the three-twined thread, by a deed of horror makes the lesson plain. There be no hatred fell, and fear, and cursed, as by false virtue for true virtue nursed. One of his sons he slaughters, and accuses Thome of murder, who was innocent, bringing false witnesses, as there the use is, him to the death they doom incontinent. The saint, assured that his best excuses are his appeals to God omnipotent, prepares to work before the king and court a public marvel of the major sort. He bids be brought the body of the slain, that it may live again, and be affied to name its slayer, and its word be ta'en as proof of testimony certified. All saw the youth revive, arise again, in name of Jesus Christ the crucified. Thome he thanks when raised to life anew, and names his father as the man who slew. So much of marvel did this miracle claim, straightway in holy water bathes the king, followed by many. These kiss Thome's hand, while those the praisers of his godhead sing. Such are the Brahmins, in such furious flame, envy so pricks them with her venomed sting, that rousing ruffian rout to wrath condign, a second slaughter plot the priest's design. One day, when preaching to the folk he stood, they feigned a quarrel mid the mob to rise. Already Christ his holy man endowed with saintly martyrdom that opes the sky. Rained innumerable stones the crowd upon the victim, sacred sacrifice, and last a villain, hastier than the rest, pierced with a cruel spear his godly breast. Wept Gange and Indus, true Thome, thy fate, wept thee whatever lands thy foot had trod, yet weep thee more the souls in blissful state thou ledst to don the robes of holy rood. But angels waiting at the paradise gate met thee with smiling faces, hymning God. We pray thee, pray that still vouchsafe thy Lord unto thy illusions his good aid afford. And you, ye others, who usurp the name of God's apostles, missioners like Thome, say, on ye boast of apostolic claim, why fear not holy faith to preach and pray? If ye be salt, see how yourselves ye shame, cleaving to home where none the prophet play. How shall be salted in dark days as these, pagans I leave, such hosts of heresies? But now this perilous theme I pass beyond. Gain we again the limned shore in sight. Here with the city, whereof fame is fond, bends the long bowline of Gangetic Bight. Runneth Narsinga rich and potent lawn, runneth Orissa vaunting tissues bright, and at the bottom of the bay's long line, illustrious Ganges seeks his home, the brine. Ganges whose accolades bathe and bathing die, and die in lively faith withal secure, whatever sins upon their spirits lie, the holy waters lave them sinless pure. See Kavigam amid the highest high, in Bengal province, proud of varied store abundant, but behold how placed the post, where sweeps the shoreline towards the southern coast. Arakan realm behold, behold the seat of Pegu peopled by a monster brood, monsters that gendered meeting most unmeet of whelp and woman in the lonely wood. Here bells of sounding oracle they fit upon their bodies by the crafty hood of subtle queen, who such new custom planned to bait adulterous sin and crimely fend. Behold Tavai's city, whence begin Siam's dominions, reign of vast extent. Tenasserim, Kedah, of towns the queen, that bear the burden of the hot piment. There farther forward shall ye make, I ween, Malacca's market grand and opulent, whither each province of the long seaboard shall send of merchantry rich varied hoard. From this peninsula, they say, the sea parted with puissant waves, and entering toward Sumatra's noble island, wont to be joined to the main as seen by men of yore. 'Twas called Chersonese, and such degree it gained by earth that yielded golden ore, they gave a golden epithet to the ground. Some be who fancy Ophir here was found, but on her lands enthroned see Singapore, where the wide sea road shrinks the narrow way. Thence curves the coast to face the sinister, and lastly trends Aurora ward its lay. See Pam, Patani, and in length obscure Siam, that ruleth all with royal sway. Behold Menam, who rolls his lordly tide from source Kiamai called, lake long and wide. Thou seest in spaces of such vast extent nations of thousand names, and yet unnamed, Laos in land and people prepotent, Avas and Brahmas for vast ranges famed. See how in distant wilds and wolds lie pent the self-styled Gians, salvage folk untamed. Men's flesh they eat, their own they paint and sear, branding with burning iron, usage fear. See Mekam river fret Cambodia's coast, his name by water captain men explain. In summer only, when he swelleth most, he leaves his bed to flood and feed the plain. As the fur Nile he doth his freshets boast, his peoples hold the fond belief and vain that pains and glories after death are signed to brutes and soulless beasts of basest kind. The stream with gentle, bland repose shall greet in his embrace the song that swam to land from sad and piteous shipwreck, dripping wet, escaped from the reefs and rocks that fang the strand. From hunger tortures and the perilous trade, what time went forth the dire unjust command on him whose high sonorous lyre shall claim such want of fortune and such wealth of fame. Here courseth, see, the called Champa shore, with woods of odorous wood 'tis decked and dight. See Colchichina, still of note obscure, and of Ainam yon undiscovered bight. Here the proud empire famed evermore for wide-spread lands and wealth and matchless might, of China runs, and boasts the whole her own, twixt torrid Cancer and the frigid zone. Behold yon wondrous and incredible wall, this and that other region built to part, most certain symbol this which shows to all imperial puissance, proud in arm and art. These their born princes to the throne ne'er call, nor son succeedeth sire in subject heart. The properest men as monarch they devise, some knight for virtue famed, brave and wise. Perforce hide other vastly lands from thee, until what time no land remain unfound. But leave thou not those islands of the sea, where nature rises to fame's highest round. This realm half-shadowed, China's empery, afar reflecting, whither ships are bound, is the Japan, whose virgin silver mine shall shine still sheenier with the law divine. Here see o'er oriental seas bespread infinite island groups, and allwhere strewed Tidor, Ternate view, whose burning head lanceth the wavy flame and fiery flood. There see the groves the biting clove but shed, bought with the price of Portuguese's blood. Here dwell the golden fowls, whose home is air, and never earthward save in death may fare. See Banda's islets, which enamelled glow, various painted by the rosy fruits. Variegate birds that flit from bough to bough take tithe and tribute of the greeny nuts. See Bornea's sea-girt shore, where ever flow the perfumed liquors thick and curded gouts, the tears of forest treemen, camphor cleave, wherefore that island crop of fame shall reap. Timor thence further sendeth forth her store of fragrant saunders, wood medicinal. See Sunda's isle so stretch her farther shore, that hideth austere regions of Apol. The wandering men who inner wilds explore tell of a stream whose marvels never pall. For where its lone and single current floweth, that wood that in it falls a live stone groweth. Behold yon land, made island of the sea by time, whose trembling flame in vapours swelleth. See petroil fountain, and the prodigy of odorous juice the weeping tree distilleth, sweeter than Santir shed in Araby, by Cinera's daughter, wherefore aye she dwelleth. And see how holding all that others hold, soft silk she hoardeth, and the nugget gold. See in Salem that peak so stark, so gaunt, shooting high o'er the clouds, or mocking sight. The native peoples hold it sacrosanct, for the faint stone where print of foot is spied. O'er lone Maldivia's islets grows the plant, beneath profoundest seas of sovereign might, whose poem of every theriac is confessed by cunning leech of antidotes the best. Eke shalt thou see to form the Red Sea strait Socotra, famed for aloes bitter growth. I subject other sea-girt isles to wait your steps where sandy Afric's seaboard showeth, and yieldeth floating mass rare odorit, but whence it cometh none of mortals knoweth. Of some Lorenzo see yon famous isle, which certain travellers Madagascar style. Here distant Orient's new-found climate see, climes on the world by this your feet bestowed, that opened ocean portals paid and free, whose vasty plain with doughty hearts you plowed. But in the ponent all's a reason be, illusion's noble exploit be avowed, who being greatly by his king aggrieved, shall force a passage fancy ne'er concede. See yon huge region, whose continuous lines course from Callisto to the contrary pole. Superb shall be by boast of lucent mines, whose veins Apollo's golden tincture stole. Castile, your ally, worthily designs to make its barbarous neck her yoke to thole. In varied regions bide its various tribes, with different rites which different use prescribes. But here, where earth spreads wider, ye shall claim realms by the ruddy dyewood made renowned. These of the sacred cross shall win the name. By your first navy shall that world be found. Along the seaboard, which your arm shall tame, shall wend him seeking earth's extremest bound, Magellan, who, good sooth, by birth shall be a Portuguese in all save loyalty. And when his courses pass the midway place, which from the pole Antarctic parts the line, he shall behold an all but giant race, holding the countries which therewith confine. So onwards lie the straits that aye shall grace his name, which sea with sea through land conjoin, a sea and land where horrid Auster bideth, and 'neath his frozen wings their measure hideth. Thus far, O Portingals, to you was given the feats of future ages now to know, how o'er those oceans which your keels have riven, great hearted barons grandest deeds shall do. And hence, since all with mighty toils have striven, toils by whose fame your favour aye shall grow, with your eternal spouses debonair, who shall weave glorious crowns for you to wear. You can embark, for favouring blows the wind, and to your well-loved home the seas be clear. Thus spake the goddess, and the braves inclined from the glad island of sweet love to steer. They bear refreshment of the noblest kind, they bear the longed-for company, each his fear, the nymph that ever shall in heart abide, long as the sunshine warmeth land and tide. So fare they, cutting through the main serene, with favouring breezes that ne'er blew in ire, till they had sighted that familiar scene, their fatherland and ever fond desire. They passed the Taga's mouth, our stream Amin, and gave their country and their dread-loved sire, who will their voyage, glory and renown, and added lustrous titles to his crown. No more, my muse, no more, for now my lyre untuned lies, and hoarse my voice of song. Not that of singing tire I, but I tire, singing for stirred and horny-hearted throng. Favours which poet fancy mostly fire, our land gives not, I know, 'tis plunged too long in lust of lucre, whelmed in rudest folly, a vile, austere, and vulgar melancholy. Nor can I wherefore, by what fate indign, she joys in Aegeal pride, and a general taste, which strengthen mortal spirit, and incline to face all travail with a happy haste. Wherefore, O king, thou whom the will divine hath on the kingly throne for purpose placed, look that thou be, and see the realms of earth, so lord of vessels peerless in their worth. Look how they gladly wend by many a way, with raging bulls or rampant lions might, self-doomed to sleepless night and foodless day, to fire and steel, shaft shower, and bullet flight, to torrid tropics, arctics frore and gray, the pagan's buffet and the Moor's despite, to risks invisible, threatening human life, to wreck, sea monsters, and the waves' wild strife. All risks to serve thy cause they dare affront, to thee, though distant, yield they homage due. Of every hard command they bear the brunt, some answer, ever prompt and ever true. On single look of favour could they count infernal demons, black with hell's own hue, with thee they fain encounter, and they there, unconquered conqueror, their king declare. Favour them always, gladden every face with thy fair presence, blithe humanity. Of rigorous rule relieve them, deal the grace of milder law that leads to sanctity. Impart to long experience rank and place, with experience, habit, honesty, to work thy sovereign will. Thus all shall trow what things befall them, whence and when and how. All favoured thou, in duty's different way, as in each life the stored talent lies. Let the religious for thy governance pray, and beg a blessing on each high emprise. Fast they, and fash their flesh for those who stray in vulgar vices, and as wind despise ambition, ne'er shall holy priest mislead glare of vainglory, nor of gain the greed. Foster the cavaliers with fair esteem, that oft their fearless fiery blood have lent, to spread not only heaven's law supreme, but eke the royal rule preeminent. Such men who fare to face each fell extreme of climate in thy cause aid diligent, conquer a double foe, with the foam that live, and deadlier task with dark dumb danger strive. So do, my sire, that sons of famous lands, Britons, Italians, Germans, and the Gaul, ne'er vaunt that might of mortal man commends thy Portugals, who should command them all. Take counsel only with experienced hands, men who long years, long moons saw rise and fall. Many for general science fitness show, yet the particulars none save experts know. Elegant Formian's philosophic store, see how the practised Hannibal derided, when lectured he with wealth of Bellic lore, and on big words and books himself he prided. Senhor, The soldier's discipline is more than man may learn by mother fancy guided, not musing, dreaming, reading what they write. 'Tis seeing, doing, fighting, teach to fight. But I, what dare I say, rude, humble, low, to thee unknown, yes, even in thy dreams? Yet oft from lips of babes and sucklings flow, I trow, the words of wisdom man esteems. Right honest studies my career can show, with long experience blent as best beseems, and genius here presented for thy view, gifts that conjoined appertain to few. For serving thee an arm to arms addressed, for singing thee a soul the muses raise, naught lacks me, save of thee to stand confessed, whose duty 'tis the good to prize and praise. If heaven concede me this, and if thy breast deign incept worthy of a poet's lace, as doth presage my spirit vaticine, viewing thee pace the human path divine, or doing such daring do, that ne'er Meduse shall Atlas' mountain like thy glances shake, or battling on the plains of Ampelus, Morocco's mures and Teredan to break, my now esteemed and rejoicing muse, thy name o'er earth, I swear, so famed shall make, an Alexander shall in thee be shown, who of Achilles envy ne'er shall own. End of Canto 10.